Hello to all you Matthew studying peeps. And today it's Matthew 19, three verses 13, 14, and 15. Really going to whoop it on us today, aren't we? And the text is, "Let the little children come to me." So, and I don't think, of course, we take this as probably we should sometimes. Here, of course, this story is covered as well as in Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And Luke describes them as babies. So, but it was common in that day to bring a child to the rabbi to pray a blessing over them. So, when they were bringing these children, of course, the Pharisees were trying to trick him. And Jesus found fault with his own men because the disciples rebuked the people. And we don't know why or what they said or why. Sometimes I think little kids, they are scampering around and you're like, stop that. But we don't know. But we know they may have thought it was beneath their master. And maybe they were being protective of Jesus as he was on his way to Jerusalem to die. But we do know that Jesus wanted to bless the children. So he was able to do two things. He was able to bless the children. Number one, in verse 14, "For such is the kingdom of heaven," which has been misunderstood through the years. He did not say that only children belong to heaven. But he said to such. So such as these speaks of a comparative likening to a child. People who choose heaven are like little children. And to get to heaven, you have to become like a child. So, you guessed it, I have 5 things that I think characterize a child when we're talking about coming to God. So a child has not lost a sense of awe and wonder. Do you ever have that? When you're telling a story to a child, they're just like spellbound. It's so sweet. Look at Psalms 33:8 and Psalms 8:3. Also, number 2, a child's life is marked by dependence. We're going to reference Colossians 1:17, and where Jesus holds it all together. Acts 17:28. We are totally dependent on Jesus when you think about it. I think sometimes as adults we want to go around thinking, oh, I handle this. I work and I pay for these bills, and Jesus is the one that holds it all together for us, and we're totally dependent upon him. We need to stop and be thankful and realize that. Number 3, a child has an amazing ability to forgive. And we've been talking about forgiveness. Forgiveness, forgiveness. What is that song? From the 60s or the 70s? I don't know. But I think it's a child will forgive, and we want to hold a grudge when we get older. If we could just remember that childlike forgiveness. Number 4, a child readily admits their inabilities. Please reference 2 Corinthians 12:9. They always say, oh, I can't. And you're always saying, can't, never did do anything. I think if we come with a humble spirit to Jesus and say, I can't do this without you. I'm unable to do this without you. I think God blesses that because he knows we need to be dependent upon him. Excuse me. And lastly, a child's life is based on believing. Because they believe, they trust. Childlike faith, which is the ability to see God's promises with no question. Proverbs 3:5. I think that's the hardest thing for us to do as adults, is to trust and have a childlike faith. Now there's a song about that, childlike faith, a hymn I'm thinking of. If your faith wavers, ask God to increase your faith. I mean, I think number one, if we don't have a childlike character as a child when we come to God, maybe we, take anything to Him and lay it at the foot of the cross. And I want to enter heaven, and if being like a child is what I need to be, that's what I'm gonna do. Here's to being like a child. Here's to having the heart of a child, and just have a sense of awe, dependent, forgive, admit where you're unable to do things, and believe. Love you guys. Have a good week.